was 6:45 a.m. in Austin, Texas, when Chloe's phone buzzed with an email notification. She was sitting at the kitchen table, sipping her morning coffee while her 2-year-old son, Liam, giggled in his high chair, smearing yogurt across his face. The email subject line read, "Moving forward." Curious but slightly uneasy, Chloe opened the email. Her heart sank as she read the first few lines. It was from Ethan, her husband of 7 years. Attached to the email was a photo of Ethan standing arm in arm with Madison, his 25-year-old assistant, in front of their dream home. The house Chloe had designed and built herself. The caption in the email read, "The house is mine now. Madison and I have already moved in. My lawyer will send over the divorce papers soon. Don't bother fighting it. The deed is in my name." Chloe's hands trembled as she set her coffee mug down, but it wasn't fear that consumed her. It was rage. Ethan had always underestimated her, treating her like a supportive wife who would quietly accept whatever he decided. But this was a declaration of war. She glanced at Liam, still happily babbling, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around him. Then her eyes shifted to the framed photo on the wall, a picture of her and Ethan on their wedding day, smiling as if they had the world figured out. 7 years of marriage, and this was how he chose to end it, with a smug email and a photo of himself with a woman barely out of college. Chloe took a deep breath, her mind racing. Ethan thought he had the upper hand, but he had no idea who he was dealing with. She wasn't just a wife or a mother. She was a successful architect who had built her career and her life from the ground up, and she wasn't about to let him take everything she had worked so hard for. She picked up her phone, her finger hovering over Ethan's contact information. For a brief moment, she considered calling him, demanding an explanation, but then she thought better of it. Instead, she blocked his number, opened her email, and typed a short, pointed reply. "Are you sure about that? You might want to double-check the paperwork." With a satisfied smirk, she hit send, blocked his email address, and turned her attention back to Liam. Ethan had no idea what was coming. Chloe wasn't the type to crumble under pressure. She was the type to fight back and win. As the morning wore on, Chloe couldn't shake the anger bubbling inside her. Ethan's betrayal wasn't just personal, it was calculated. She knew there had to be more to the story. Ethan wasn't the type to make bold moves like this without a plan, and if he thought she'd just roll over and let him take everything, he was sorely mistaken. Chloe started piecing things together. Over the past few months, Ethan had been acting distant. He'd been taking more business trips than usual, often claiming he needed to stay late at the office or travel for meetings. She had brushed it off at the time, too busy juggling her demanding architecture projects and caring for Liam to question him. But now, it all made sense. She opened her laptop and logged into their shared bank account. Her stomach dropped. The account, which had held over $80,000, money she had been saving for Liam's future, was nearly empty. The last transaction was a transfer of $75,000 to an account she didn't recognize. Chloe's hands clenched into fists. Ethan hadn't just betrayed her emotionally. He had stolen from their family. Her phone buzzed, breaking her train of thought. It was a text from Rachel, her best friend and confidant. "Chloe, you need to see this," the message read, followed by a link. Chloe clicked the link, and her jaw tightened as Madison's Instagram profile loaded. Madison had been posting photos for months, flaunting her relationship with Ethan. There were pictures of the two of them at fancy restaurants, on weekend getaways, and, most infuriatingly, inside Chloe's dream home. In one photo, Madison was lounging on Chloe's custom Bingham couch, wearing one of Chloe's silk robes. A caption read, "Home sweet home with my love, new beginnings." Chloe scrolled further, her anger growing with each post. Madison had even posted a picture of herself wearing Chloe's grandmother's diamond necklace, the same necklace Ethan had promised would one day belong to Liam's future wife. The audacity was staggering. But the worst was yet to come. Chloe found a post from 6 months ago showing Madison holding a set of keys with the caption, "Finally moving in with my man. Can't wait to start this new chapter together." The dates lined up perfectly with Ethan's so-called business trips. While Chloe had been working late nights on her architecture projects and staying up with a teething Liam, Ethan had been playing house with Madison. Chloe's phone buzzed again. This time it was an email from her lawyer, Laura. Chloe had forwarded Ethan's email to Laura earlier that morning, and now Laura was responding with a mix of concern and determination. "Chloe, we need to talk. I've reviewed the deed for the house, and while Ethan's name is on it, we have strong grounds to contest his claim. I'll need all the financial records and any documentation you have about the purchase. Let's meet this afternoon." Chloe felt a flicker of hope. The house might be in Ethan's name, but she had paid for it entirely with her own money she had earned from her architecture firm. And she had been smart enough to keep detailed records of every transaction. Before heading to her meeting with Laura, Chloe decided to check one more thing. A year ago, she had installed security cameras in the dream home as a precaution. Ethan had scoffed at the idea, calling her paranoid, but she had insisted. Now, she logged into the camera system and pulled up the footage. What she saw made her blood boil. The cameras had captured everything: Ethan and Madison moving into the house, carrying boxes of Chloe's belongings out to the driveway, Madison laughing as she tossed Chloe's favorite throw pillows into a trash bag, Ethan pouring champagne and toasting to their new life. But it wasn't just the footage that caught Chloe's attention. The audio was crystal clear, and she could hear every word of their conversations. In one clip, Ethan said, "Chloe will never fight this. She's too busy with her work and the kid to even notice what's happening." Madison had laughed, replying, "Well, if she does, we'll just make her look like the crazy, overworked wife. No one will believe her." Chloe's hands shook as she saved the footage to her laptop. Ethan and Madison thought they were untouchable, but they had underestimated her. She wasn't just going to fight back, she was going to destroy their little fantasy world. As she closed her laptop, another thought struck her. Ethan had always been careless with his emails. She logged into their shared email account and started searching for anything that might give her more leverage. It didn't take long to find what she was looking for. In an email to a friend, Ethan had written, "Once I get the promotion, I'll be set. Madison's dad is the CEO, so this relationship is my ticket to the top. Chloe's too focused on her little architecture projects to even notice what's happening. By the time she figures it out, it'll be too late." Chloe's eyes narrowed. So that was his game. Ethan wasn't just leaving her for Madison. He was using Madison to secure a promotion at work, and he was willing to destroy Chloe's life to do it. She forwarded the email to herself, along with several others that detailed Ethan's plans. Then she grabbed her bag, kissed Liam on the forehead, and headed out the door to meet Laura. It was time to take the first step in dismantling Ethan's carefully laid plans. Chloe arrived at Laura's office with a folder full of documents, her laptop, and a determination that burned brighter than her anger. Laura, a sharp and experienced attorney in her early 40s, greeted her with a firm handshake and a reassuring smile. "Chloe, I've gone through the initial email you sent me," Laura began as they sat down. "Ethan thinks he's being clever, but he's made a lot of mistakes. Let's go through everything you've brought so we can build a solid case." Chloe opened her folder and laid out the financial records, including the receipts and bank statements proving she had paid for the house entirely with her own money. She also showed Laura the security camera footage and forwarded the incriminating email she had found in Ethan's account. Laura's eyes lit up as she reviewed the evidence. "This is good, really good. The house may be in his name, but we can prove that it was purchased with your funds. That gives us a strong claim to ownership. And the footage? That's gold. It shows not only that he's trying to take what's yours, but also that he's been planning this for months. Chloe nodded, her resolve hardening. He's not just trying to take the house. He emptied our joint account, including the money I'd saved for Liam's college fund. And I'm pretty sure he's been trying to access my business accounts, too. Laura frowned. That's serious. If he's been tampering with your business finances, that could be considered fraud or even corporate espionage, depending on what he's done. Do you have any IT support who can check for unauthorized access? I do, Chloe said. I'll call my tech team as soon as I leave here. I've always kept my business accounts separate, but I wouldn't put it past Ethan to try something desperate. Laura leaned back in her chair, tapping her pen against her notepad. Here's what we're going to do. First, I'll file an emergency motion to freeze any joint accounts and prevent Ethan from accessing any more funds. Second, we'll prepare a claim for the house, using your financial records and the security footage as evidence. Third, we'll start gathering more information about his activities, especially anything related to your business. If he's been trying to sabotage you, we'll make sure it backfires. Chloe felt a surge of gratitude for Laura's confidence and expertise. What about Madison? She asked. She's not just some random assistant. She's the CEO's daughter, and Ethan's been using their relationship to secure a promotion. I found emails where he talks about how this whole thing is part of his plan to climb the corporate ladder. Laura's expression darkened. That's a conflict of interest, and if the CEO is involved in any way, it could spell trouble for their entire company. Do you have any proof of their connection? Chloe pulled up Madison's Instagram profile on her phone and handed it to Laura. She's been posting about their relationship for months. There are photos of them together at the house, at company events, even on vacations. And then there's this. She scrolled to a post where Madison had written, "So proud of my man for all his hard work. Big things coming soon. Can't wait to celebrate his promotion." Laura smirked. Perfect. This shows that their relationship isn't just personal, it's tied to his professional advancement. If we can prove that Ethan and the CEO have been using insider information or engaging in unethical practices, it could bring their whole operation crashing down. Chloe felt a flicker of satisfaction. Ethan had always been arrogant, assuming he was untouchable. But his arrogance had made him sloppy, and now she had the tools to dismantle his plans, piece by piece. Before leaving Laura's office, Chloe made one more request. I want to make sure Liam is protected through all of this. Ethan's already threatened to fight for custody, and I don't trust him to put Liam's well-being first. Laura nodded. We'll address that too. With everything we've uncovered, Ethan doesn't have a leg to stand on. The courts will see that you're the stable parent, and we'll make sure he can't use Liam as leverage. Back at home, Chloe wasted no time. She called her IT team and asked them to review her business accounts for any signs of unauthorized access. Within an hour, they confirmed her suspicions. Ethan had tried multiple times to log into her accounts using her old passwords. Fortunately, her security measures had blocked him every time. Good, Chloe said, her voice steady. Keep monitoring everything. If he tries again, I want to know immediately. Next, she reviewed the security camera footage again, this time focusing on the audio. She found a clip where Ethan and Madison were discussing their plans in detail. Once I'm promoted, we'll have everything we need, Ethan said, clinking glasses with Madison. Chloe's business will be easy to take down. She's too focused on her ethical practices to compete with real corporations. Once her company folds, we'll use her market share to boost the merger. Madison laughed. And she'll never see it coming. She's too busy playing the perfect mom to even notice what's happening. Chloe saved the clip and sent it to Laura with a note. This might be useful. Finally, she sat down and wrote an email to the board of directors at Ethan's company. She didn't send it yet. She wanted to wait until the timing was perfect. But she outlined everything: Ethan's relationship with Madison, the financial fraud, the attempts to sabotage her business. and the unethical practices tied to the upcoming merger. She attached the security footage, the emails, and screenshots of Madison's Instagram posts. As she hit Save Draft, Chloe felt a sense of calm wash over her. Ethan thought he had won, but he had underestimated her. She wasn't just going to fight back. She was going to make sure he regretted ever crossing her. The next morning, Chloe woke up with a renewed sense of purpose. She wasn't going to let Ethan and Madison walk all over her. It was time to put her plan into motion. Her first move was to send the emergency motion Laura had prepared to freeze their joint accounts. Within hours, Chloe received confirmation that the motion had been approved. Ethan would no longer have access to the remaining funds, and any further attempts to withdraw money would be flagged. Chloe couldn't help but smile as she imagined Ethan's reaction when he realized his financial lifeline had been cut off. He had stolen from her, but now the tables were turning. Later that afternoon, Chloe decided it was time to confront Ethan directly. She wasn't going to let him think she was sitting idly by while he tried to destroy her life. She called him from a blocked number, knowing he wouldn't answer if he saw her name. When he picked up, his voice was smug and little. "It's me," Chloe said, her tone calm but firm. There was a pause, then a sigh. "Chloe, I don't have time for this. I've already told you." "You've told me nothing," she interrupted. "But let me tell you something. I know everything, Ethan. I know about the money you stole, the house you're trying to claim, and your little plan to sabotage my business. I even know about your promotion and how you're using Madison to get it." Ethan's silence was deafening. "You think you're so clever?" Chloe continued, her voice steady. "But you've made a lot of mistakes, and now I have all the evidence I need to take you down. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to stay out of my way, or I'll make sure everyone, your company, the board, even Madison's father, knows exactly what kind of man you are." Ethan finally spoke, his voice low and angry. "You don't scare me, Chloe. You're just bitter because I've moved on. No one's going to believe your little sob story." Chloe smirked, even though he couldn't see her. "We'll see about that. Oh, and by the way, you might want to check your bank account. Things aren't looking so good for you right now." Before he could respond, she hung up. She wasn't going to waste any more time arguing with him. The next step in Chloe's plan was to expose Ethan's lies to the people who mattered most, his company's board of directors. She finalized the email she had drafted the night before, attaching all the evidence she had gathered: the security footage, the incriminating emails, and screenshots of Madison's Instagram posts. The email was professional and concise, but it left no room for doubt about Ethan's actions. She detailed how he had used his relationship with Madison to gain an unfair advantage at work, how he had stolen money from their joint account, and how he had attempted to sabotage her business to further his own career. Before hitting send, Chloe took a deep breath. This was the moment everything would change. With one click, she sent the email to the board of directors, copying Madison's father, the CEO, for good measure. It didn't take long for the fallout to begin. By the end of the day, Chloe received a call from Laura. "You're not going to believe this," Laura said, her voice filled with excitement. "The board has already launched an internal investigation into Ethan and Madison. Apparently, this isn't the first time Madison's relationships have caused problems for the company, and with the evidence you provided, they're taking this very seriously." Chloe felt a wave of relief. "What about Ethan's promotion?" "Gone," Laura said. "He's been suspended pending the investigation, and from what I've heard, the CEO is furious. This could cost him his job." Chloe couldn't help but laugh. Ethan had spent months plotting against her, only to have his entire plan blow up in his face. With Ethan's career in shambles, Chloe turned her attention to the house. Laura filed a formal claim for ownership, presenting the financial records and security footage as evidence. Ethan tried to fight back, but his arguments fell apart under scrutiny. In court, Chloe stood tall as Laura presented their case. The judge reviewed the evidence and ruled in Chloe's favor, granting her full ownership of the house. Ethan was ordered to vacate the property immediately and return any items he had taken that belonged to her. When Chloe returned to the house for the first time, it felt bittersweet. Madison's cheap decorations and tacky furniture were still scattered throughout the rooms, but Chloe didn't care. This was her home, and she was going to make it hers again. As a final act of closure, Chloe decided to send Ethan one last message. She forwarded him the email she had sent to the board, along with a simple note. Next time you try to destroy someone's life, make sure they're not smarter than you. She didn't expect a response, and she didn't get one. Ethan had lost everything: his job, his reputation, and the house he had tried to steal. In the weeks that followed, Chloe focused on rebuilding her life. She redecorated the house, turning it into a warm and welcoming space for her and Liam. Her architecture business flourished as word spread about her resilience and determination. One evening, as she sat on the porch watching Liam play in the yard, Chloe felt a sense of peace she hadn't felt in months. She had been through hell, but she had come out stronger on the other side. Inside, on the mantel above the fireplace, was a framed copy of Ethan's original email, the one with the photo of him and Madison in front of the house. Chloe kept it as a reminder of how far she had come and as proof that no one could take away what she had built. Months had passed since Chloe had taken back control of her life. The chaos Ethan had caused was now a distant memory, and she had emerged from the ordeal stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. The house, once a symbol of betrayal, had been transformed into a sanctuary. Chloe had stripped away every trace of Ethan and Madison's presence, replacing their cheap, gaudy decorations with her own carefully chosen pieces. The walls were painted in warm, inviting tones, and the furniture reflected her love for clean, modern design. It was no longer just a house. It was a home, a place where she and Liam could create new memories together. Chloe's architecture business had flourished in the wake of the scandal. News of her resilience and determination had spread, and she had gained several high-profile clients who admired her strength and creativity. She had even been invited to speak at a local women's business conference where she shared her story of overcoming betrayal and rebuilding her life. Standing on stage in front of hundreds of women, Chloe felt a sense of pride she hadn't felt in years. She spoke about the importance of trusting your instincts, standing up for yourself, and never letting anyone take away what you've worked so hard to build. The audience gave her a standing ovation, and several women approached her afterward to thank her for inspiring them. One woman, a young entrepreneur, said, "Hearing your story gave me the courage to leave a toxic business partnership. Thank you for showing me that it's possible to start over and succeed." Chloe smiled, knowing that her pain had not been in vain. If her story could help even one person, it was worth sharing. As for Ethan, his life had taken a sharp downward spiral. The internal investigation at his company had uncovered not only his unethical relationship with Madison, but also several instances of financial misconduct. He was fired, and his reputation in the industry was ruined. Madison, too, faced consequences. Her father, the CEO, had been forced to step down after the board discovered his role in covering up Ethan's actions. Madison's social media accounts, once filled with photos of her glamorous life, had gone silent. Chloe didn't bother keeping tabs on them anymore. She had no interest in their downfall. Ethan had tried to reach out to Chloe once, sending her a pathetic email apologizing for his actions and asking for a second chance. Chloe didn't even bother responding. She had moved on, and there was no room in her life for someone who had tried to destroy her. One sunny afternoon, Chloe sat on the porch of her dream home, watching Liam play in the yard. He was chasing bubbles, his laughter echoing through the air. Chloe sipped her iced tea, feeling a deep sense of peace. She thought back to the moment she had received Ethan's email. The shock, the anger, the heartbreak. At the time, it had felt like her world was falling apart. But now, she realized it had been the beginning of something new. Ethan's betrayal had forced her to confront her own strength, to fight for what was hers, and to build a life that was truly her own. Inside the house, on the mantel above the fireplace, was a framed copy of Ethan's original email. Chloe had kept it as a reminder, not of the pain he had caused, but of the strength she had found within herself. Every time she looked at it, she felt a surge of pride. She had taken back her home, her business, and her life, and she had done it on her own terms. As the sun began to set, Chloe scooped Liam up in her arms and carried him inside. She tucked him into bed, kissed his forehead, and whispered, "You're my everything, Liam. No one will ever take that away from us." Later that evening, Chloe sat at her desk, sketching designs for a new project. It was a community center for single mothers, a project she had taken on as a way to give back. She wanted to create a space where women could find support, resources, and a sense of belonging, something she had wished for during her darkest days. Her phone buzzed with a text from Rachel. "Proud of you, Chloe. You're unstoppable." Chloe smiled and replied, "Thanks, Rach. I couldn't have done it without you." As she set her phone down, Chloe felt a sense of contentment she hadn't felt in years. Her life wasn't perfect, but it was hers, and that was more than enough. Chloe had learned many lessons through her journey. She had learned to trust her instincts, to stand up for herself, and to never let anyone take away her power. But most importantly, she had learned that she was capable of overcoming anything. Ethan's betrayal had been a turning point, but it didn't define her. What defined her was her resilience, her determination, and her unwavering love for her son. As she turned off the lights and headed to bed, Chloe glanced at the framed email one last time. She didn't feel anger or sadness anymore. Only gratitude. Gratitude for the strength she had found, the life she had rebuilt, and the future that lay ahead. And with that, she closed her eyes, ready to face whatever came next.